So the work that we're going to do during the coming session is on your issue. You will start to define and clarify your issue, define your vision, and define your mission. And then, when you've done your selection, try to come to your key political issue, PI issue. And if you like, you can already phrase an early message. So your mission of your network is you want to focus on strengthening the relations between government, civil society organizations and communities. So your key issue is relationships that you want to focus on. You want to increase the engagement of the communities, because that's identified as the problem, yes? Low civic engagement. So if you want to strengthen their engagement, you have chosen to focus on the financial resources. Actually, you always have to be a little bit careful with the lack of this and lack of that, because you need to turn it around and basically say, okay, what do we have, and is it sufficient for our purposes? Because nobody will just give you a bag of money. You will need to request funding for an activity, so that the government and perhaps other civil society organizations, other partners, will be able to invest in this topic. As long as you understand the steps and how you can identify logically what causes what and where can we start to have an intervention. The vision: high engagement of citizens in solving community issues. So it's like a dream. It's an outcome you want to achieve. It's something in which sphere, remember the spheres sphere of control, sphere of influence, or sphere of beneficiaries? Where does that fit? And then the mission, you really want to focus on those relationships, government, networking and community. That mission would lead you into a very strong networking, multi-stakeholder meetings, which is definitely needed to contribute to low civic engagement. Because the early message is what we need to come through, because that really starts defining what are we going to do and tackle. What I find very strong about this is that indeed they've come to a very concrete vision and action plan. There needs to be an institutional capacity, an organization that takes charge of the interests of youth. The only question that I have is with facts. Are these facts or opinions? If you don't have the facts ready, they will look at you and you lose. Yesterday we talked about the class principles. You lose your credibility if you haven't backed it up with facts. You have to do all this with your credibility, your legitimacy, your accountability, your service, and what's the P? Power. Right? Then you can move, because if you don't have that, they will look at you and they will just shoot you down also. Like, okay, well, you can say anything you want, but we don't believe you. Very good. I think it's also very clear. Here there's already the initial steps for what this ministry is supposed to do, or this department perhaps, or, you know, there can be a lot of discussions on if this should be a multi-purpose ministry or ministry specifically dedicated to youth or so. So I think it doesn't really look like a tree, but it's supposed to become a tree, with different elements. On the one hand, you need to stop the illegal cutting. On the other hand, there will be issues like land management, because what actually most of the time is happening also that forests are actually being cut to open up for agricultural lands or for alternative purposes. The mission: initiate new wood management policy. So the mission of your network will be, you would like to see, let's call it a sustainable forest management policy.
Of course. Clear.
Yeah, and that's one activity that government definitely needs to tackle in collaboration with NGOs and other. So if that's a specific purpose that you would like to focus on, then that's clear to me. right? You can, because it's a medium-term process, not extremely long-term. Aside from all the arguments and the vision and the mission, well, the exercise itself is built up that you're in groups, you represent different organizations, and in real life it's like this. You need to come to an agreement. You need to come to a solution on what are we going to focus our energies on, because alone you will not be able to do it. But if your interests are too diverging, like in the first group, it becomes very complicated, time-consuming, and it can easily lead an entire structure to go into the woods and not ever come out.
We were so confused at the beginning.
Right. So if you just look at the process level, those emotions that you went through in themselves are a very important learning experience for how do I conduct then. And that's when the facts and the figures come in very handy, because you have neutral grounds around which you can discuss and around which you can design a plan and your vision and your mission. And then the early message really becomes your advocacy tool. So this is, this is what we've done. Defined and clarified the issue. We've done the vision, the mission, and we've tried to come to the key issue that you would like to work on. And